The best update yet in Wuthering Waves is just upon us, with a ton of amazing stuff being confirmed to drop from the 1.3 livestream. Each version update so far in Wuthering Waves has been amazing, even with 1.2 being more of a filler patch, as they just decided to drop a free 5-star character for every player, which is currently one of the best DPS characters in the game. Now with 1.3, they have completely exceeded my expectations with the level of quality they are providing through events, new characters and more. So amongst a bunch of features and new additions dropping in 1.3, I'm gonna go through the more notable aspects confirmed to drop that really stood out, the impact they may have on the future of Wuthering Waves, and just how 1.3 will be an amazing version overall. Just before we jump into it, as always, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content and drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Now with the star of 1.3 being the Shorekeeper, her gameplay was officially revealed, which looks just as amazing as the design does, along with a few unique additional abilities also being revealed. As we already know, the Shorekeeper is going to be an insane support character with a crazy amount of utility she will be able to provide. However, she also has the feature to transform into a butterfly and roam the map for a certain duration, which is going to make her the best character for open world exploration, considering that she automatically picks up materials. So the Shorekeeper being our first character having the ability to transform, aside from transforming into echoes, means that we could definitely expect transformations to make more appearances on future characters, such as maybe with Scar in his second form, which is now more likely to happen. Now another unique ability of the Shorekeeper is that she will be able to obtain an additional exclusive buff when paired up alongside Rover. Now since we already know a few aspects of the Shorekeeper's kit, such as providing crit buffs for allies, scaling off HP, and needing a ton of energy recharge to maximize the buffs she provides, even though it would be amazing for additional crit buffs to be provided to allies, it would make sense for the buff itself to either provide additional energy recharge or HP due to being an exclusive buff for the Shorekeeper. Now aside from the effects of the buff, the requirement of having to pair up the Shorekeeper with Rover is a completely new type of ability, which is somewhat in-game already, I guess, as seen with the Dreamless Echo also having the requirement of being paired up with Rover. But it becomes even more significant when on a character, and especially when the character is regarded as one of the best characters in the game, which would naturally lead to Rover's value being bumped up. Since if the exclusive buff provides a good amount of either energy recharge or HP, and it makes the difference in achieving a good build for the Shorekeeper, then Rover becomes one of the best characters or the best character to run with the Shorekeeper. Now as much as this could just be exclusive to Rover since it's the main character which everyone has, if they were to implement the same ability the Shorekeeper has for future characters and requiring different characters other than Rover to trigger the passive, it would then kinda act like an indirect buff for the character. So rather than tampering with the actual kits of the characters to boost their value once they have slightly fallen off, an option would be allowing them to trigger extra abilities for future characters, which would make them either a lot more or slightly more valuable. Of course, I wouldn't expect limited characters to trigger these additional abilities and buffs since it would just be way too restrictive. But I would expect it for standard banner characters and possibly 4 stars since sooner or later they will diminish in value. So essentially, the fact that the Shorekeeper has an ability that requires another character to be on the team to activate it, opens up to the possibility of seeing this ability on future characters needing to be paired up with other characters. Again, this might just be exclusive to Rover, which does provide even more of an incentive to build Rover if you haven't, but if it isn't, then it would certainly help boost the value of characters that will fall off. Now moving on to one of the best aspects of 1.3 that I'm sure no one expected to drop, being the Hologram boss co-op event. Like really, what's better than spending forever to learn the attack pattern of a boss that will one-shot you most of the time and drive you into insanity? Doing all of that with a friend. Now we have seen Wuthering Waves already take their first step towards providing more co-op gameplay with the Do Acknowledge Dream event, which is a great event, but it isn't exactly the hardest event to clear. However, now with Wuthering Waves not just dropping more co-op content, but endgame co-op content has got to be one of the best events they will likely ever drop. From the stream, we did get to see a small preview of two Rovers fighting against the Crownless hologram boss in a completely new area, and I can already tell that this event is going to be brutal and fun at the same time. But it does depend on if they stay true and actually provide hologram boss difficulty. Now, as likely as this event will be a time limited event, I do really hope it will be permanent, since aside from echo farming with friends, there really isn't anything else to do in co-op. So the option to fight against hologram bosses will definitely fill that void, and if it does end up becoming a permanent addition, it might end up being very similar to how the individual hologram bosses operate, as hopefully they would drop another hologram boss in the next version update to go up against. So I am extremely hyped just by the addition of this event, since if they do execute it properly and it becomes a permanent mode, it does literally fill that massive void within co-op and will make co-op a ton more enjoyable. Now, the devs do certainly listen, and they have been amazing with the amount of features and quality of life updates they have implemented. But did they take their time adding new weapons into the game? Finally, with the release of 1.3, a whole new series of weapons have been confirmed to drop, being one new weapon for each weapon type. There are a ton of amazing aspects of Wuthering Waves, but one of the aspects of the game which really felt needed some work on was the 4-star weapons. Of course, the 5-star weapon banners being guaranteed is majority of the reason we could turn a blind eye to the 4-star weapons. But now, with new 4-star weapons finally being added, they do certainly have potential to be some extremely valuable weapons. Considering how understanding the devs are, they must know about the poor state of the 4-star weapons, as there's many different gaps to be filled within the 4-star weapon selection, such as a broad blade with either crit rate or crit damage for the main stat aside from the battle pass weapon, and even a one-handed sword with either crit rate or crit damage as well. So with that, I believe these 4-star weapons are going to hopefully be ones that can provide more desirable main stats and possibly either strong passives or unique and fun passives, rather than the generic attack and defense increase. Also, the fact that these weapons will be featured on standard and limited banners, which should be debuting on the Shorekeeper's weapon banner, will mean that you will be able to pick up a few of these weapons as soon as 1.3 drops, and especially since I assume a lot of you might be looking to pick up the Shorekeeper's weapon. And if you weren't intending to summon for the Shorekeeper's weapon, well, now you have more of an incentive to pull on the banner, as you will be able to pick up some new weapons that do hold quite a bit of potential. Now lastly, amongst the rest of the events we are receiving, including free summons on standard banners and limited banners, which is always nice to see, a preview for the Fallacy of No Return boss was revealed for both the boss fight and echo skill. With the boss fight, we shouldn't have expected anything less but for the boss to look amazing in game, and I do expect him to be slightly more challenging than our current open world bosses. In regards to the echo, it was confirmed that the Fallacy of No Return is going to be a Spectral Echo, but I believe he will also be part of the Rejuvenating Glow set, since he is very likely made for the Shorekeeper. However, what caught me off guard was the fact that the echo skill is straight out of JoJo and you throw 1,000 punches a second at enemies. So along with this echo animation looking insane, it means that the Shorekeeper will be able to not only heal and buff allies, but also might be able to be considered as a damage dealer purely due to the Fallacy of No Return echo. Of course, there's a ton of factors that will come into play, such as if you can swap out to another character with the echo animation still going on, or will the echo skill actually do damage, as it just might be for show, since the Shorekeeper might be a bit broken if she was also able to deal damage alongside healing and buffing the team. But that being said, it would be amazing if she has the ability to do so. So there's a lot of potential with the Fallacy of No Return echo, as it could really ascend the Shorekeeper and other support characters like Verina to do a lot more than just being a support. Overall, version 1.3 is looking amazing and is certainly going to be the best update so far. A brand new area, new amazing characters, potentially some great weapons for free to play, and a ton of events with quality of life updates. Of course, a lot of players I expect are looking forward to picking up the Shorekeeper the most, but as usual, the devs are providing so much alongside an amazing limited character, and if the execution is perfect in 1.3, such as if the new 4-star weapons are actually better than the current 4-star weapons we have, and how the hologram boss co-op event turns out, it will definitely make 1.3 an amazing update to experience and will also set up future updates for greatness. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel for more Wuthering Waves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also, drop a comment down below on what aspect of 1.3 are you more hyped for. And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.